Welcome back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports.
Fall off, it's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through from Dayton. It's just going to solidify everything from Mythos.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
SKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Laura, is he going to be able to find these shots true?
Inu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an Anvil immediately goes back to fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2, 3, so back and forth.
Okay, welcome back. We are here with week 5 of CGL. We are over in EU for this one, and we have 2 teams facing off for the first time in the regular season. We have Bliss Excelsior versus DYS, budget approved.
I know, we have the great rematch of the finals of the midseason tournament before us. That was a banger that time. I am... From a view perspective, I'm hoping it's a good match. From my own time perspective, maybe not. But last time, 3-2, going the distance, and we could have quite the match in front of us. Yeah,
definitely, right? These teams are hungry for this rematch, especially, like you said, we just got through that mid-season tournament, so, you know, revenge going to be fresh on the minds here, but we do have, you know, a pretty good one in store for us over in this GM EU division, and, well, remember, we do already know, of course, what map we're going to be getting started out on as well.
And we do. The scriptwriters have been hard at work on this one. Antarctic Peninsula will be our first map, and it's Stage 2. We have a brand new map pool for the entire event now. Stage 1 and mid-season tournament shared the same map pool, and now we're starting off fresh with a map we haven't seen in quite a long time, since last season, Antarctic Peninsula.
Yeah, I feel like Antarctic Peninsula hasn't really been kind of a favorite map, I think, across kind of a lot of different leagues and tournaments. So we don't get to see it necessarily as much as, you know, it's not a Lijiang Tower, it's not an Ilio, it's not a Nepal, but it's exciting because getting started out in this first week of this second stage means that these teams might not be as practiced on this map in particular and kind of the rest of these maps. So a chance for teams that maybe struggled a little bit in the last stage to kind of find their footing and try and reposition themselves as we head into the end of the season.
Yeah, I will admit, Antarctic Peninsula is not really a favorite map of mine either, quite as things, but you know, we gotta spice it up a bit, we gotta change things, and you raise a really good point in that, because we have changed the map pool for Stage 2, I mean, we've used it for all 5 weeks of the beginning of the season, things are more open, things are different, we just had, again, a 3-2 match with these teams. This could be an opportunity for the teams that are just a little bit more unpracticed on these maps, that they had been playing for 5 weeks before this.
Yeah, exactly. Switching things up, super fun, a little bit unexpected. And now Antarctic Peninsula, of course, it's still a control map, so we're still going to have those 3 subtypes. But I think interesting because it maybe doesn't allow for quite as much kind of flexibility in the compositions that we tend to see. If I'm thinking about some of the other maps that we had to, like Lijiang Tower and Ilios, which I already mentioned, I think that there's a little bit more room to kind of run some different compositions. But with Antarctic, you're maybe locked into a little bit of a different play style with how enclosed some of these maps are.
Yeah, these maps do historically seem to feel like they always somehow end up a little brawly in some kind of way. So it wouldn't surprise me to see that. And admittedly, we're also in the EU region as well. EU loves its Raw, its Rush in every aspect. We could see a lot of the Zarya with the Reaper. I mean, heck, we could still just make Ram work somehow in every situation, because Ram will never fully go away. So I would not be surprised to see that in this composition at all.
Yeah, it could be fun. Now, of course, we are going to have hero bans and everything in the mix as well. So kind of that added layer of strategy for both these teams to try and find the comp that's going to work a little bit for them. Now, we don't have them ready to go just yet, but I think especially on a control map, target banning can be really, really impactful here because, like we just said, there's a very specific type of play that seems to get more time on Antarctic Peninsula than some of the other ones. And I've seen some pretty heavy-hitting bans come out in map 1, right? You go to a control map, you ban out the Lucio right away. It's going to force a team to play a very specific style. So definitely an opportunity here to hit hard right out of the gate for these teams.
Yeah, are you someone who believes in the kind of like do a little bit of a throwaway ban for the first map and then kind of like knock it out later, hold them for later, or are you one that's like, okay, we need the advantage right away, knock it out early, and try to get that first map win?
I feel like there's a little bit of depth here for me, where we're in week 5 now. These teams, obviously, although they haven't played against each other in the regular season, you have at least an idea from that mid-season tournament about what to expect from the team. So I probably am not going for a throwaway ban right away. You should be probably pretty prepared if you're both of these teams to just go in, try to get the advantage right away. Now, if we were coming into this kind of blind, sure, give a throwaway ban so you can get a little bit of a feel for the team that you're going up against, but I don't think that's necessarily going to give you the advantage in this match.
Yeah, I kind of lean that direction a little bit myself. I always felt a little bit nervous trying to like hold a ban for too long, especially like when you know the matchup so well. Because I mean, what if you don't get to that point? I mean, having the early map win can be good too. To put yourself in a situation to, you know, operating on the assumption everyone kind of wins their own map pick, that you go into say map 5, you reach there with an opportunity to choose.
Yeah, all right. Well, hey, we're ready to at least get into the ban screen here. So Bliss Excelsior is going to get the chance to ban out first. Now, these bans are going to work similar to kind of standard, right? So if Bliss hits a tank ban, that means we're not going to end up with a second tank ban from the side of DYS. So interested to see kind of what they're going to opt to go for. You kind of mentioned that, you know, the Rush/Brawl maybe a little bit more favored in EU, but we'll have to see if they're going to line up the ban to kind of make it a little bit easier to run this kind of Rush style.
Yeah, I think we'll find out pretty early if any of these teams are the teams that kind of favor the Zarya Reaper. Because there's kind of like a number of aspects of that composition you can kind of just remove. You know, obviously you can remove Zarya, or you can just remove Kiriko. And be like, no, we do not want the Rush, we do not want the Suzu. Or maybe we're trying to protect a hero from being removed, which actually could be a Wu Yang protect, I think about it.
That's what I'm wondering, and I'm also wondering, like, what are we going to run? If we do run the Wuyong, what are we going to run with it? Because the Kiriko has kind of been that favored pairing. I think that Ana definitely does have kind of a position as well if you are going to run that Wuyong. But if it's not to protect the Wuyong, then I'm wondering, okay, what are we going to end up on? Like, are we going to give it a throwback to kind of the Lucio Baptiste? I think especially if you're running that Rush composition, the BAP can still be really, really strong. But I think the Kiriko ban right away, I mean, this is a hero that is getting a whole lot of playtime, so this feels like a pretty good way to find out what your opponent is going to struggle with.
That's true, and we could obviously see a situation as well that something's been doing where they run the Wu Yang Lucio as well, which is a little bit maybe less sustained overall, but like, you know, very highly mobile. With DYS trying to ban response now between a tank or DPS, and I mean, you could change a lot by removing a tank out of this game, honestly.
Yeah, you mentioned the Zarya Reaper composition, and honestly, if you take out the Zarya or you take out the Reaper from that, it is going to massively change kind of what you're anticipating to play. So DYS kind of have to maybe try and guess at what they're expecting is going to come out from Bliss here, and do they want to kind of match that? Are they going to try and take out one of those heroes? Or do you feel confident that you can just kind of outplay if you end up on the mirror match here?
Removing the Malga. Okay, this is one I don't know if I quite expected, but I feel like maybe I had some vague memory of Malga being played actually in the recent matchup they had. So maybe this one actually isn't as much of a surprise as I thought.
I think Malga is in kind of an interesting place right now. I maybe am not anticipating to see him super heavily played on Antarctic Peninsula, but again, Antarctic isn't a map that's really getting a whole lot of playtime kind of across series and stuff like that. So the Malga, you know, there's a couple of sub-maps I'm thinking kind of Icebreaker in particular where you're going to have a little bit less kind of high ground to work around, but once we get to kind of sub-level where there's that high ground above the point, probably you're not going to see the Malga so much, but hey, I guess DYS don't want to see him at all as we head into Antarctic.
Yeah, and it is also a fairly contained map, like we talked about earlier, so it kind of can lean to those opportunities to, as the Malga, hold a corner and maybe not take as much damage, and run and slam in around a corner as well. So I could see kind of the threat opportunities for that situation, but we're not going to see that here. But I mean, it's fully unlocked for future maps if we get to like a Flashpoint map later.
Yeah, that's such a good point. The Malga would be pretty impactful on those Flashpoint maps. Again, you're like fighting for that one kind of space, you know, that you're going to be able to go in for a pretty good hit on that. But yeah, taking the Malga out here, I mean, you gave the call out earlier, like I do anticipate that we're probably going to end up on maybe a Zarya composition, maybe a Reaper composition, but let's get introduced to these two teams to start us off here. It's Bliss Excelsior on your screen first. We have Shadow and Percy on the DPS, Poar on that tank, and then Arrow and Rooney, the backline for this team.
Looking like a dangerous lineup. And if we see the Hazard here as any indication of what they actually do want to play, I mean, Hazard, while he has been knocked down a tier, he's actually been kind of like coming back up a little. I've been seeing more and more Hazard play from some teams, and I mean, that character can live through a lot, can do a lot of damage, and also has that ability to kind of climb those high grounds, like you mentioned on the one point of Antarctic, where you can just go up and down as you need to.
Yeah, he's a fun kind of hybrid between the dive and the brawl here, so could be fitting for a playstyle that Bliss might be looking to play. But let's take a look over at our other roster. It is DYS budget approved. We have Ravage and Brannan on the DPS, Reno, your tank, Lampy and Ascend, the backline, and I mean, Headrammer, I am spotting this Wuyong pick here for this team, so I'm hoping we are going to get to see a bit of that new hero. Well, I guess he's not as new as he once was anymore. Time flies.
Yeah, I know. We're already getting teased the new hero in the developer updates, as we have this dark creature with a sword in the background, which is a bit ominous, I will say. But you're right. Ever since Williams come into the game, they've been kind of a staple in this pro scene, and someone who's really good at Wu Yang can kind of take over a series for you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I think that having the if you don't have kind of a Wu Yang player on your team, the Wu Yang ban almost feels required for some maps, especially under those maps where you can get a really long poke phase in, because he could just do so much damage. And yeah, if you don't have someone to kind of match that, you could be in trouble. And yeah, we got the rosters all set, our map and bans ready to go. Looks like we should be getting started fairly soon.
I know the anticipation is palpable as we get coming into this game shortly, but I'm honestly just really curious to see what the compositions they decide to go with. I think there's a lot of opportunity in a series that has this ability to go the length for that kind of counter picking back and forth. I mean, again, it sounds like, from what I saw a little bit in some of the match chat, there might have been some target bans on some players. So I think they're not holding back on the bans like the first maps like we thought they could. So it's be really interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, and we'll see if these two teams opt to kind of end up in a mirror match, or if it's going to be kind of this counter swapping that's going on. I think that as we have seen in season 18, there's been a lot more kind of room for new heroes to be, well, new to the meta heroes to be played. We aren't seeing that Ramontra be picked every single map. So as we can see here, we are heading into Icebreaker for our first map here, and already, I mean, we're getting to see kind of a variety of comps being hovered.
Yeah, we are. We didn't mention the reset before, but I suppose that is a little more of an option. We saw some aspects of it creeping a little bit recently, and I'll be here to see if Shadow sticks the Symmetra or if it's just using the TP out spawn.
Looking like it's gonna stay. Oh no, okay, nice TP out of spawn. Yeah, over onto the Tracer. I think this makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, I think it does make sense. I mean, any kind of control map, hovering those angles, making sure that there is no way that Ravage is in your backline.
Ooh, okay, TP over from Woody trying to chase out this soldier does make him run away very quickly. Is going to be able to actually finish off that kill. Meanwhile, though, Power did take out Ascend there, so having that Baptiste not in the lineup here for DYS is going to mean that there's a lot of pressure on Lampy to try and keep this team alive, but point has actually flipped over onto DYS here. The numbers still looking good for Excelsior. Ooh, okay, trading. Actually, both Tracers going to be out of the fight now, so that cleanup not going to be there. But the longer that this fight goes on, DYS is going to be able to just build more and more percentage. Poar up to 71% on this Terra Surge already. Does manage to force out Reno a little bit here. Lamp gone from Ascend, who's still very, very low, but it looks like the flip actually is going to come through for Bliss for now.
Yeah, that pick on Ascend actually ended up doing so much for Bliss Excelsior. Reno and Witty Weeb comboing for a lot of damage, but Power did not want to let them stand.
Oh, Power falling so low here. Has the Terra Surge ready to go. Sees the bubble use. Is going to go for it. Finds 3, but the Lamp going to just barely keep everybody on the side of DYS alive. Grab in response here is good. It finds a few, but is there the follow-up? Percy actually going to kill Ravage there. So 1 DPS gone here for DYS. Budget approved, and it's still not in control of the point here. Arrow did commit that window, which kind of forced everybody from DYS to just back up a little bit here, although still looking to kind of stay in this fight despite being down in numbers. There's the window. Oh, Ascend tries to keep Reno alive, so does Lampy, but neither of them were able to do it. And with your Zarya out of the fight here, I mean, you have to find a trade. You find the kill onto Power. Ravage still alive as well. And finally, after a really long and scrappy fight, DYS trying to flip this over and will manage to do so.
Yeah, the health bars at a razor's edge through so much of that long extended fight. I mean, it's Power, and their team is just doing so much to hold the line there, but eventually when Power falls, you see how quickly the rest of the team falls apart. They are the kind of that bouncer, not letting anyone else get to their team. But now Woody Weeb hovering over and has this this Reaper ult right now.
Yeah, Percy trying to find an angle here. Doesn't really have any space to work with. Rally from Rooney is going to allow Bliss to get a little bit more aggressive here. Really pushing DYS back. I mean, see that Reno already lost all the shields. Witty Weave is going to fall as well. Doesn't get to use that Blossom, and oh, okay, we're actually going to see the Blossom from Percy.
This is ambitious. This is ambitious.
Yeah, too ambitious. Doesn't find any connections there.
Yeah, I don't know if I really agree with that pick right there. You kind of had already won the fight, and then now you swung it back against your favor. That Brig allowing so much to kind of easily take into push into the point, but DYS already coming up on both 3 ults, actually even 4 ults.
Yeah, Terra Surge going to be the first one committed here, but the speed from Lampy is going to get everybody out. Blossom! Witty finds just the lamp for now, but has done a good chunk of damage to the side of Bliss. No, it's actually going to be a nice response here. The window from Arrow not only doing damage, finding some heals as well. Percy's still alive in this fight. Arrow going to use that window to secure that kill onto Reno, and approaching that 100%. It's going to be a rollout from Lampy, trying to get the touch. Will manage to get the foot of the Lucio on the point, but there is not looking like any follow-up, and yeah, that's Icebreaker picked up by Bliss here.
Yeah, despite a little bit of back and forth, it really felt like Bliss was kind of in charge through that entire point. They had so much focus fire and just kind of nailing down people constantly. We also saw Shadow constantly finding Lampy on the Lucio and not letting them, well, really build their beat or be where they had to be. Maybe Lampy's going a little too aggressive, I'm not sure, but Shadow was seeming to find them every single fight.
Yeah, agreed. And I think that Bliss doing a good job of kind of not overcommitting most of the time. I think that sometimes DYS was just overstaying their welcome in some of these fights. You lose your tank early, but you still try to go in and get the trades. But if you're not in control of that point, it's not going to be good for you to take those long fights.
Yeah, it seems like we're trying to have people try to be those clutch players in clutch situations and doubling down on those fights where it's probably already lost.
Okay, it doesn't look like we're going to have any team comp swaps here. We do have, yeah, this brig from Rooney still. Everybody's going to be meeting up on this high ground. One bubble already out here. Now, Bliss basically just have to kind of play and try to get that second one. You managed to force the Reaper out. Nice ankles being taken, though. Ravage, you can see the Tracer really, really far kind of in that backline of Bliss. The TP out. Now you can see that Percy has all of the cooldowns forced out. Reno trying to find that kill onto the Reaper. Not quite gonna
the back out.
yet. Yeah, now we do have the point that has unlocked here. The shield now acquired here for Poar. You're gonna have a little bit more damage mitigation to work with here. Really nice when you're going against this Zarya. Wraith form. Oh, okay, we do find the Baptiste way over on the side. The lamp gets forced out. Hasn't quite found that kill just yet, but Ravage does find the better of Shadow here, which means that Ravage is going to have a whole lot more space to work with on this Tracer. Power falling very, very low is actually going to be taken down by Reno there, and now that no tank on the side of Bliss Excelsior, everybody else going to be able to just run on through.
Yeah, a little bit of just power struggle back and forth there. The moment Shadow kind of lost that 1v1 with Ravage and Tracer, it kind of really opened up Ravage to kind of approach the backline of Bliss and force out some of the cooldowns. We saw Arrow's Immortality Field forced out. Packs that would have went on to Reaper or Shadow were now had to be used to peel for each other, and it kind of just slowly let them out.
We have the Terra Surge ready to go here from Poar, trying to find some space. Unfortunately, Reno very, very far off this Graviton Surge right now. TP in from Witty Weave, does get that bubble as well, doesn't have the Blossom ready to go, but is able to do a lot of damage. There's the Terra Surge committed, the lamp already used. Both supports for the side of DYS are going to fall at the hands of that Terra Surge, and now it's just basically clean up here for Bliss.
It was not that bad of a fight, honestly, and DYS just so close to some of those impactful ultimates, only really had the window and pulse available to start, but Beat, Reaper ult, and Grav now available, but if they would have been available in that fight, I think that that could have been very different.
Yeah, game changer for sure. Well, they're coming in this next fight with that Grav, with that Beat, and yeah, the Death Blossom going to be ready to go as well. We'll have to see what Rooney can get done with this rally. Kind of the defensive ultimate on the side of Bliss. Arrow has this window ready to go as well. TP in, gets that bubble as well. Doesn't actually find any damage through that, but yeah, rally forced out.
Oh, the bash!
Aggression. Wow, really nice timing on that rally. Everybody engages in, and immediately both supports gone. Bliss getting the team kill.
Yeah, they, I guess they just really couldn't do anything. They actually didn't use any resources, so this should be a fight they absolutely win this next one, but I don't know, it felt like they were just a little slow on the reactions to that previous fight.
Yeah, I agree now. Like you said, the ult's are ready to go here for DYS. You just kind of have to find an opening. This window still ready to go for Arrow. Again, we hear the TP come in. Bubble goes over, but you're not going to be able to do much against the shield from Poar. Yeah, actually, the Reaper just going to have to Wraith form out. There's the window from Arrow, straight on the point. Percy picks up the kill onto Lampy. Really nice angle. That means everything is just falling apart here. That Beat not going to be able to be used. And it's just a lonely Baptiste fighting for his life here.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what DYS is waiting for. They have every single ult they need to win these fights. Honestly, invest any of them and you could win one of the fights. But these fights keep going on, and Bliss is building up their own ult bank back again. It's no longer a guaranteed win for DYS, and a pulse bomb here could just change everything.
Yeah, Shadow's looking for it. Does toss it in. Okay, gets a bubble out at the very least. We see a pulse bomb from Ravage in return. Doesn't find anything either, but here we go. DYS walking forward, getting some space, finally able to break out of that choke point. There's the grab, does connect onto Poar on the Orisa. Didn't have the Fortify, but does have the Terror Surge ready to go. The Lamp and the Beat gonna be committed there, and we have the Death Blossom. Here it is on point. Oh, nice headshot arrow, gonna shut down that Blossom immediately. Overtime now triggered here. DYS have to stay on the point, but they just do not have the bodies. Percy absolutely ripping apart DYS. Another team kill to clean up Antarctic.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a dominant showing for them, to be honest, and I'm not really sure, like, don't get me wrong, Bliss looked really good in the fight, but I really felt like DYS was kind of hurting themselves in that last map.
Yeah, I agree, right? It was just like nothing, no cues were pressed, and unfortunately for DYS, it was a good read from Bliss. They were ready to go every time in these fights. Taking the first fight means that you're probably going to end up on top there, and yeah, a pretty strong showing to get started on this.
Yeah, Bliss really playing to make power. They're kind of like that bouncer, not letting them go anywhere in these fights. They're just kind of taking control of the entire front line. Everyone on DYS is having to look at them to even get in right now. Rito is bubbling Witty Weave, but the backline's honestly peeling it pretty well. The Briggs whip-shotting people back, Baptiste throwing out Immortality Field when needed, and so much so that, you know, when the ball comes out in Witty Weave, Reno has to use one for themselves as well and can't really take that space. I mean, Orisa is has so much damage mitigation through all their cooldowns that, you know, even if you're 100 charge Zarya, you can beam the Orisa, and if their fortifies up, it doesn't really feel like their health's going down.
No, it doesn't, especially because Poar picked up that shield perk as well, so that's just one more level of defense that you have to get through to try and take down this tank. And it's interesting to see that the BAP Brig is what Bliss ended up going for when they went with that Kiriko ban, so not necessarily looking to take that Lucio-Kiriko duel. Could potentially be kind of just comfortability for the individual players, but I do think that now that Kiriko is back into the mix for these next maps, if you're not able to match that Kiri Lucio or the Kiri Wuyang to the same ability that DYS can, you might be in trouble.
I agree. I felt like, yeah, it felt like DYS had Lucio, but never felt like they were really using speed. So the Bat Brig backline, which, you know, is fairly brawly, you can do stuff like that, and they were doing great for each other. They never really felt like they were in any position to be ran over, which it really felt like, you know, with Lucio Reaper, you feel like you should be able to do that, even more so when you give Reaper a bubble. Reaper's in a pretty good place right now, so it makes you wonder a bit why there wasn't tempo.
Yeah, that's a really good point, right? We were seeing the TP in plus the bubble. We were seeing that section kind of this composition be pulled off fairly frequently, but we weren't really seeing the engage come in off of that. So you kind of want to pair that kind of speed in, because like you said, BAP and Brig, you know, that's no speed on the side of Bliss, so you should be able to basically just run circles around them. But if you're missing that kind of key component of having your frontline engage with that Reaper, you're basically not going to be able to find a lot of kills, and a lot of the times we ended up seeing the Reaper basically just bubble in and then have the race forced immediately and have to back out.
Yeah, they were able to fully take advantage of the brief bit of space that the Reaper gave, because the race is just like, I'm just going to stand here.
Yeah.
Come at me. I'm not moving anywhere. And then, the Bat Brig's able to sit in the backline and just be like, boonk, 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 as they heal the Orisa behind the shield before they get another cooldown again. And it kind of felt like maybe Orisa was a little too much of a focus for them, because I mean, that Orisa's not going to die most of the time. You need to kill the support line for to keep that Orisa alive. It's like when you play against the Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball is a bait so much.
Yes.
You're most likely not going to kill them.
No, exactly. I think that another component of why not really a lot of space was really been able to be gained was kind of that Tracer duel that was happening over on the side, right? Maybe it doesn't get as much kind of flashy attention as having this nice Reaper combo TP in, but that Tracer is going to really open up a lot of space. So if your Tracer is winning out in the Tracer duels, that's going to make it that much easier for your front line to kind of control the space. And unfortunately for DYS, it didn't seem like Ravage was really able to find the upper hand over Shadow in those Tracer duels a lot of the time. So that meant that you didn't have any pressure on the flank, which meant that there was just a whole lot of pressure being put onto the Zarya as you're trying to walk in, and basically just denying space by controlling space.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it felt like on first point, Shadow kind of really had the advantage there. And on second point, it felt like I didn't really see one have the advantage over the other, but it was either even being a stalemate, when you have control of the point, well, it's not going to it's not, you can't get there. You have that advantage by controlling the points. You're able to make it so much more difficult to even get to that back line, just like you mentioned. And yeah, I think a little bit of alt cycle stuff kind of allowed them to retake that point without he's not having to even force the Tracer battle themselves. That one brief time that Bliss lost the point just because they had ults earlier.
Yep, that's right. You press Q, you should win most of the time, hopefully. But this is an opportunity now for DYS. They're going to have their map pick, and they're going to be able to take us over to whatever map and mode they choose. And this is maybe a little bit surprising, to be honestly, that they are opting to take us to Suravasa for our second map.
Well, it is going to Suravasa, but I mean, this could be, we talked about earlier, running that Malga a little bit. Now it's no longer have an option to be banned. And maybe this is something they need to kind of increase their tempo. They just need a Malga running it down. That just says, team, follow me or I'm beating. And you're like, oh shoot, we gotta follow him. And you just need someone that can force that aggression. Because that Zarya comp is very strong, but at the same time, the Zarya's not really the one that engages. The other person engages, you kind of bubble them.
Yeah, exactly. So if you can have this kind of stronger front line, that means that you're probably going to win out in these matches against the Zarya. So interesting as well what to see the hero ban that's going to come out for DYS, because if you're right and they are opting to maybe play this Malga, there's going to be a handful of heroes that really hard counter that Malga. I'm thinking the Ana specifically, not traditionally played on.
Oh no, Orisa.
Ooh, yeah, you go for that Orisa
Fair.
ban because the Orisa's going to live forever and definitely can be played on Suravasa.
Yeah, the Reese was definitely causing them a lot of problems, so it doesn't surprise me that they're like, yeah, we don't want that. We've had enough of this hero. We haven't been able to kill them at all. Let's remove it from there. And on the off chance there's something else they want to swap to as well, they can choose to. It also maybe functions as a protect ban as well.
Yeah. Yep.
Part of me was surprised maybe a little bit that they didn't remove the Brig, but at the same time, Briggs can kind of be slammed a lot by Malga, so maybe I was incorrect in thinking that.
That's true. Yeah, the Brig, unfortunately, the shield is just not going to do a whole lot against the Malga. And especially, I think, on Flashpoint, we don't necessarily see the Brig as much. I think that Lucio... Oh, okay! Bliss are actually going to take Lucio out here, which... kind of, you're seeing Lucio played a lot on Flashpoint maps. These maps are absolutely massive, so you want to have that kind of speed component here, and this is going to force an interesting backline. I do think, had remember that we could end up potentially on this Kiri Wuyang that has been, I would say, a plague for backlines in Season 18.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a possibility here, especially, Rune Lucio is interesting. I mean, it kind of, in some aspects, forces you to slow down a little bit, even if you're all running the Malga. Again, we're not fully sure if they're running it, but if they are running it and you have to follow the Malga in, it really helps you have the speed to catch up to them.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Or maybe you could just cheat and use a TP, like here. But, yeah, low Lucio definitely slows down the gameplay, and it really felt like a lot of what Bliss succeeded at in that last map was the fact that they kind of just slowed it down a lot in those fights. They took control of the point and just planted their foot in the ground and said, yeah, we're going to be here.
Yep, that's exactly it. They're getting reset to kind of the same position after every fight, getting control of the space that they need, so they don't need that speed to kind of take control of the space. You just get yourself set up there with the Brig Bap and you're good to go. So if they run the Brig Bap here again, I think it would be a little bit risky, just where I think that with so many kind of angles and stuff, the lanes that need to be controlled on Suravasa, the Brig can be a little bit kind of left out in the open, but I mean, we're headed in now, and so far, Bliss do still potentially have Rooney wanting to play that Brigitte.
Yeah, and maybe they end up pairing it with a little bit of the Juno, giving that speed ring. And Juno Brig historically played a lot with the Malga. Well, Baptiste, I suppose that works as well. That was the support line they kind of used last map to extreme amounts of success.
Yeah, they're basically just subbing in the Malga for the Orisa, and then they're good to go, which, I mean, I think that's a great plan. This composition worked well for you on Antarctic, so why change it up? Now, looks like the Zarya comp still going to come out for budget here, but you are going to get Lampy over on the Wuyang here.
They also swapped who's playing Reaper, who's playing Tracer this time, between Witty Weave and Ravage.
All right, Witty Weave's turn to try and take the Tracer duel against Shadow. Bubble already forced out. Power absolutely chunked down. That's the beauty of this Reaper. You get that bubble on him, he's going to be able to do so much damage essentially for free. And now with Power out of the fight, that's so much HP gone for Bliss, and Witty Weave is basically just tearing the backline apart. Ravage going to get in on the action as well, and first cap going to go the way of DYS here.
Yeah, Power just getting just melted immediately. And it is one downside of the Malga is, one, you're absolutely massive, so it's hard for people to miss you. And 2, you don't really have anything to block or bubble or shield away damage that comes onto you. You have to you hold your corners and use those angles to not take damage, and build up by shooting the people. But if people are bubbled, you can't get the overhealth from it.
Yeah, there's a lot of mobility in this comp from DYS as well. It might be hard for Power to kind of find a target to really get that slam onto unless it's Reno. Lampy showing why Wuyong versus Tracer doesn't always go the way of Tracer. Finding that kill now. Power does manage to take out Ravage, so that's a big threat now gone for the Malga. And DYS still in control here though, with Arrow taken out of the fight by Witty Weave. That's the big source of healing for Power. No, now gone, and we can see just absolutely getting chunked down. The health bar so low. Does still have Rooney alive to try and keep him up here though. Point rapidly approaching last fight territory. Reno gonna take Shadow out, trying to go in for a sneaky little angle there. Nearly had the pulse bomb ready to go, but Bliss need to go in for a recontest here. We're at that 95%. It's gonna be the charge in from Power. Doesn't even survive to the end of that charge, and it's looking like DYS picking up their first point here in the series.
Yeah, they really struggled in that fight to kind of just get and hold any space. What's it called? Purity on the Reaper isn't really hasn't really been able to hold the space like Ravage is, because they go in and don't get a bubble, and they also can't really be healed long range very easily from distance besides like a break pack. And Power's just taking so much damage.
Yeah, okay, here we go. Ravage has this Death Blossom ready to go. You need to be looking for maybe some of these cooldowns to be forced out. The point is going to unlock very shortly here. DYS need to start taking a fight. Rooney's going to start things off with that rally, and the window actually committed. Ooh, okay. We do have Percy out of the fight here, so that Death Blossom's gone, but there is a grab here from Reno, and that window from Arrow is not going to deter any of the damage coming in. DYS once again going to get percentage building first on this point. Maybe if somebody, there we go.
A little bit of an expensive fight from DYS, and using both. Actually, I would say all 3 of their big ults they used in the fight to win it. But they did win it. They got their first cap, so there is an opportunity now for Bliss to come in this fight and potentially even win it with just Cage. But you still have to be careful, because Reaper ult inside of Cage can break Cage pretty fast.
Yeah, the blender combo here definitely on the table for Bliss. Now, we do see that Cage coming out, Power. He's gonna get that one going here. Now you take down Reno and Ravage, which is really big. Shadow does get taken down on the sidelines, but you're still looking good to try and flip this if you're Bliss. You just need to kind of clean up the rest of DYS that's kind of hanging around here. Are gonna be able to do that and get some percentage started on Palace.
Yeah, their comp does function a little bit better when they have that point presence now, so thankfully they're able to win that fight with just Cage. They do have both Soja Reaper ult available, so got a dueling Reaper ults at the moment, but yeah, honestly, I think if you're Bliss, you just need to go aggro with pinning in and popping the Soja ult.
Yeah, agree, right? You want to get some space from the Malga, and then you can use this overclock, but you are not going to get a chance for that. It's a kill coming in onto Shadow, followed up by a nice Blossom there. Okay, here's the Blossom in response, but yeah, it's just so much mobility from the Wuyong Lamp. He's going to be able to just absolutely run away from that, and is still running. We see Percy try and get the chase there, but you just can't catch the Wuyong. He's too slippery.
Lampy running laps around the Reaper right there, just surfing the wave out of danger, and now DYS has kind of come back up to all these ults again that used to win the last fight. These are ults that are kind of a little bit hard to defeat, and Shadowy really needs to make something happen with this ult.
Yeah, that's right. We've had this ult on the side of Bliss Excel for a little while. Looks like Shadow is going to try to take this high ground here, but you just have so much attention being given. Ravage is going to end up getting taken down. There is that grab. It catches 3. The lamp very briefly going to keep Arrow alive, but it's not going to keep him alive for the entire time. Kitsune Rush from Bliss on the point, trying to just lock this down. The kills, though, actually going the way of DYS here. The Bliss Kitsune Rush, not enough to secure that, and now DYS putting themselves at map point.
Yeah, and now DYS is even in a place where they could win this next fight as well. They have the Wuyong ult. They can throw it on the Tracer and just run it down, and force out Suzu, force out Lamp, just by the nature of that ult being really, really hard to stop. And it doesn't feel like they have an answer for this combination right now.
No, right? We see the window for Arrow, but that's not really going to do a whole lot against this. We see Witty Weed finding the angle, right? Getting set up to go in with potentially this Tidal Blast. Already Polar finding himself in a very uncomfortable spot. We actually see the Tidal Blast go over onto the Reaper. It is going to help secure that kill onto Arrow, and Polar, yeah, caught out in no man's land, is going to end up falling as well. A third time here for DYS to get the first cap.
They did get the first cap. Bliss, thankfully, really didn't invest in that fight. they have every tool they need to win this next coming fight, but we've seen right now how this alt cycle works. Bliss comes in, they use these ults, they win the fight, but during the time frame, DYS has already built up their ults and has the the deadly combo that they have.
Yeah, okay, let's see what Bliss can do to try and get in. You force the Wraith out from Ravage. That's going to be the charge in and the cage. You do catch the Reaper in it. The window not really being used here by Paddle. There we go. Finally, the Reaper is going to end up falling. Arrow, though, gets traded out by Witty Weeb, so no healing from that Baptiste. The stick does connect, doesn't find the kill, but does a whole lot of damage, and Shadow finds himself off the edge somewhere as it is still trades going back and forth here, and Bliss not coming out on top in this fight.
Yeah, they invested so much to kill that Reaper, and during the meantime, DYS traded the back line of Bliss, removing so much of their sustainability. Power having to swap the ball here just to even get a realistic touch, but, I mean, grab, pulse, rush, and then another... Actually, no, they're going to have all 5 ults. What do you do?
Yeah, DYS had everything to work with here, and Bliss have literally nothing to work with. It is the rush on the point from Ascend, so Bliss already fighting into a deficit here. The grab gonna be thrown in by Reno too, and the Blossom just an afterthought as we do see the bubble go over onto it, and here we go. What a clap back from DYS.
Yeah, that was that was dominant throughout the entire process. That was honestly a statement of what happens with either just a map preference or a targeted ban. We talked about tempo that DYS lacked in the previous map. No, they have it. They have the tempo now. It's here. It's here in the stay. And man, it really felt like that Orisa ban did so much for them. The Power's just having so much difficulty staying alive.
Yeah, right, and it's huge how much these hero bans can really just make an impact. I was a little bit surprised when we go into Flashpoint off of the back of just like losing control in a... It wasn't super, dominant, but it was definitely very, very clean from Bliss. So seeing us go into this another kind of control style map, a little bit of a surprise here for me. But DYS, they had the hero band to go with it. And even though they were playing nearly the same composition, I think that having Lampy on this Wu Yang looked really, really great. He was able to survive so long in these fights and able to put out the damage and put out the healing. It's the 1-2 combo that you really want from your backline.
It was. And I do also wonder how much an effect swapping Ravage and Witty Weeb on the rolls had an effect on that. Is it one of those situations where someone's just like, I'll take the Reaper, I'll run it down, follow me kind of thing? Or is it Witty Weeb's like, no, I'll take the Tracer. You take the Reaper, and I'll enforce the aggression. Like, whatever combo or reason they decide to swap things around between those heroes and bringing back Lampy on the wing, it worked.
Yeah, I agree. I do think that the Tracer duel coming out, maybe I wasn't seeing kind of the Tracer for DYS be picked off first in a lot of the fights, so definitely seeing a lot of impact there for them, and you gotta feel pretty confident now. I mean, you're all tied up 1-1 if you're DYS, but this does mean, of course, that we're gonna go back over onto Bliss for their map pick, and now that we've gotten Flashpoint and Control out of the way, it's a whole other kind of project to work with in these hybrid and Control, or these hybrid and Escort maps.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those things now where if you're Bliss, it really felt like you were doing really well at any of those times at which things need to be slowed down a bit. So maybe you're trying to go for one of those maps that has those much stronger corners, those smaller chokes, those angles where you can put them on the Orisa and say, like, don't walk past me kind of thing. You can take a lot of that aspect, but I guess it's something we'll have to figure out after our brief intermission, since I mean, we can't let you guys have all the fun with us.
That's right. We will see you on the other side for map 3. Don't go anywhere.
I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love, you say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Okay, everybody, here we are over in the EU region. It is currently at 1-1 Bliss Excelsior falling on Flashpoint. DYS responding with a win in the face of going down in their control map.
Yeah, that was that was a dominant bit. Like, no, we'll take care of the series. Don't worry. We're not letting you do what you did to us on map 1. They took them down in record time. I don't know if it's possible to finish Flashpoint faster than what we saw there. I think it was 3 100-0s. I didn't flip at all.
Yeah, I think you might be right, Headrunner. I don't think that Bliss got a percentage on any of those submaps on Flashpoint. So yeah, that's a big difference from Antarctic Peninsula.
Yeah, it sent a message, and I mean, Overwatch is a game of momentum. Like, if you keep going, it can be really, really hard to bring it back. And I think it shows a lot of strength from DYS that they go from first map to this one and just completely flip it on a dime.
Yeah, right? This is great for them. They need to try and keep this momentum going, though, and now they're trying to do that in the face of the map pick of Bliss Excelsior. So, okay, DYS, you did good first step, win your map pick, but now you gotta try and win against Bliss's map pick, which could be a lot harder.
It will. I mean, when you're on the situation of losing the previous map, you get both map pick and first ban. So you have a lot of power in the series to kind of shove it around how you want. You can take it to a map and then just remove the enemy team's favorite hero that might be really good on the map. You could take it to, say like this previous situation. If it was a ball team, you could take him to Atlas and just remove ball, and then you can remove that entire situation away from you.
Yep. And I think that we saw a big impact with those hero bans going into Saravasa, right? We see that Arisa ban come out that Bliss was really favoring on Antarctic Peninsula, and they just did not have a response for this Mauga that came out from DYS. And remember, everybody, Bliss has already banned out the Mauga, so you don't get another option to ban that. That's it. Now you gotta probably deal with Mauga for the rest of these maps, unless you can find one where he's really not gonna work.
Yeah, and we're seeing now also that it really feels like Bliss is not wanting to run the Zarya. Either they're not comfortable in the comp, or maybe they don't like the hero or have the hero pool for it. And it could be a way to remove that moving forward in the map. And we have Colosseo here. I mean, I would say that the Zarya can work pretty well here, so it might be useful to remove it.
Yeah, this could be the point where you want to remove the Zarya. Now, Colo does have some pretty long sight lines, so typically you're going to have that Lucio kind of paired with that, but we'll have to see kind of what the bans that come through for, because we mentioned this kind of in that first map, is that the Zarya Reaper combo, this composition that's being played, it has a lot of pieces that kind of have to fit together very nicely to make the comp feel really, really good, right? You need to have the Zarya, you need to have the Reaper, probably going to want to have the Lucio to kind of get you in and out, and then you have to have either like a Tracer or a Genji that's kind of playing off on that flank. So it is a really strong comp, but it's also pretty easy to kind of take out a pivotal piece of that composition with these hero bans.
Yeah, it definitely is. Whether you're removing something from the support line, removing the Zarya, or even removing the Reaper. Removing the Reaper could also be a good aspect as well. But I mean, it felt like your team wasn't bad at the Reaper themselves. At least it wasn't on first map.
Yeah, I agree that the Reaper matchup felt pretty evenly matched, and both of them doing a good job kind of getting that first engage. Bliss have opted. Yes,
move it. Zarya found dead in the streets.
Zarya. Yeah, she's gone. This is interesting, right? Because now it's like, okay, what are we gonna end up? Are we just gonna end up on this kind of Orisa versus maybe Mauga mirror? Like this is interesting when you ban out one of these tanks, because once upon a time banning out the tank meant that, okay, you had to play this one other tank that was strong, but like right now there's good tank options in the meta.
Yeah, there actually is. I mean, I could see DYS just removing, say, like Baptiste or something like that, one of the support line characters. They've been on Bap Brig the entire time.
Yep.
And yep. I could really see them kind of commit to that and be like, no, we're taking you off what you're comfortable on, and then we're going to run it down on you.
Yeah, and that's a really good idea for DYS here, because I do think that, yeah, that backline has been very strong, so taking out the Brigitte here, it means that you are now forcing Bliss onto a backline that they have not played yet, so you're going to have to make sure that your support players are kind of warmed up for maybe some Lucio Kiriko, maybe some Lucio Wuyang, but whatever it is, it's going to be a big change up from what you've been playing for the last two maps.
It is, and this potentially opened up opportunity for DYS to lean even harder into the Tracer. You know, the break bat peel for each other fairly well. Are able to kind of like keep people at bay, but when they're not there, you have to go kind of a little bit of the opposite direction instead of being a little little more stationary, like they had to do with the Orisa and the Bat Brig. You got to be a little more mobile with your character choices then to kind of stay alive.
Yeah, and I think that DYS are already really comfortable on these super mobile heroes, and I think that heading into Colosseo as well, like, having some really high mobility heroes is going to help a lot in these push maps, because of course you want to try and get out of fights really quickly if you're not winning them, and you want to push forward really, really quickly if you are winning them. I mean, you mentioned it earlier, Headbrimmer, with regards to kind of winning maps, is that momentum is so important in Overwatch, not just in kind of the mental aspect of it, but in the actual physical momentum, especially in these push maps.
Absolutely true. And we have the cinematic Colosseo in front of us for this one. I want to know what they're going to run. Are we still doing the Malga? Wait, we have swapped. We now have Reno on the Orisa.
Okay, yeah, changing things up here for DYS. Now, Lampy still on that Young and Ascend over on the Kiriko here. So, interesting comp. I think that it's going to work really well for still kind of a comfort of what they've been playing, right? Okay, you're over back onto the Orisa that was banned out, and you didn't win against that Mauga on the Zarya. So, back over to your comfort here. Looks like Bliss running the Bap Ana here.
I honestly kind of preferred the previous comp they had a little bit. In some aspects. I guess Bat maybe in some aspects a little more than Juno with, again, the Tracer, but I kind of felt like, honestly, the Moira Juno with Speed Ring was like so much speed and so much healing.
Yeah, I agree, right? And a lot of nice utility to kind of work with here. All right, well, Percy over on this Reaper doing a little bit of chip damage. Doesn't have Azaria to get a nice little bubble on in. Does have the TP ready to go, though. He's going to get started with that. Already the nade forced out. Rooney has to use it defensively and is going to get bonked on the head by Wittyweave. Wittyweave on this Tracer, taking down the entire backline of the budget approved, of Bliss Excelsior, but has been responded with by Shadow. So still kind of even trades here. Reno's still alive and healthy, despite not really having a whole lot of support to go. You see that Wraith form forced out, immediately going to target down that Reaper. Nice job from Wittyweave to trace that Reaper down and find that kill. And looking like DYS, though, maybe get to push the bot a little bit further, but Bliss have the reinforcements on the way. Poar has swapped over onto the Orisa to match off of that Mauga, and Rooney over onto the Lucio here. A little bit more of a standard backline now making appearance here for Bliss Excel. Reno nearly has this Terra Surge ready to go. Ever so forward, this bot has been inching, but haven't been able to win a clean fight just yet. Let's just keep finding their way back into these. Oh, Reno falling very, very low. Manages to stay alive for the moment, but there we go. Is going to end up
Power 1 HP
down. Rooney, unfortunately, down again, though. So it's looking like Bliss maybe not going to be able to get a lot of progress here.
Yeah, this has been such a back and forth fight with trades happening over and over again. Every single time you think one team gets the advantage, the other team just takes it out. But now, with both tanks trading that fight, Budget Approved will be back a little bit earlier with their tank, which could be an opportunity for them. And then they have, what, essentially almost 5 ults?
Yeah, ready to go in this. So you see, Shadow has the Pulse Bomb, has spotted out Reno on this Orisa. Maybe not the target you're necessarily looking for, but ooh, Lampy though, we see that cooldown be forced out, the movement now gone, but and the Suzu actually gone as well here. Quite a bit of attention actually being given out to Shadow, but it's not going to be enough. Shadow finds Ascend, Lampy gone as well, and DYS, their backline is now absolutely obliterated. Bliss finally seems like they have a chance to get control of this bot, and they will do just that.
Yeah, just with a single pick, just completely taking over that fight, as somehow in a fight where DYS has 5 ults, they lose not using a single one.
Yeah, I guess at least they'll have it coming into this next one, but Bliss ready to go with ultimates of their own as well. Bot going to be able to reach that checkpoint there, or not the checkpoint, the lead is going to be picked up by Bliss, and yeah, a nice TP in from Percy, trying to force out a cooldown here. Does manage to get that
over here.
Suzu out, has off on an adventure from the Reaper, is going to be punished by Ravage. Arrow does take out Wittyweave in the response. Ravage has this overclock ready to go, gets pulled in by the Terra Surge though, and yeah, Poar going to shut that overclock down before too much comes of it, and we have the Percy coming back here. DYS have gotten themselves back in control of this bot, have the Terra Surge on the point as well. I think that actually got comboed with the Tidal Blast from Lampy. TP in from Percy, has the Blossom ready to go, needs to find an opportunity to use it though. Shadow takes out Wittyweave, so one DPS now gone from DYS. Ravage has actually swapped over onto the Cassidy as well, and this Kitsune rush from Ascend is not going to do a whole lot to stop Bliss Excelsior from pushing forward, and they're going to clean some kills up and continue building this lead.
Yeah, they've kind of been able to use these ultimate. It feels like DYS is almost kind of reverting a little bit back to what they were like on Antarctic Peninsula. It feels like the aggression has swung back in Bliss's favor. Now they have kind of a comp they're more comfortable on. And honestly, I don't really know why we see Power ever run over to the Malga. It feels like they're really good on the Sarisa.
Yeah, I totally agree. Looking really, really good on this mirror match here. Window from Arrow ready to go. This nice bridge could be an excellent place to put it down, but it's going to get forced out a little bit by Reno. A lot of cooldowns being used early here by this Orisa for the side of DYS. Ooh, walks right through that window, though. He's going to be able to deny at least the damage from the Baptiste, but Powar's just going to walk to the other side of the window and shoot through, and here we go. Bliss, it just seems like they just cannot be stopped.
Yeah, I mean, they're absolutely on a roll right now. DYS invested so many ults in the previous fight, and now Bliss has just been able to use their ults 1, 2 at a time and kind of keep snowballing it through. We see Power has used this Orisa ult so many times in combo. We saw Ravenge, slide in with their Sojal earlier and just get pulled right down by Power, and now Ravenge a little bit more sitting around the high noon, and we're gonna have dueling Orisa ults.
Yeah, that's right. Both these Terra Surges are ready to go. Now we are going to have the Deadeye versus the Pulse Bomb kind of to combo with those Orisa ults. Already a lot of cooldowns forced out from Powar here, but Rooney managed to stave off Witty Weave on that Tracer, so you're gonna have, okay, Ravage also finding Shadow there, but Bliss Excel, you get the Terra Surge off first. You don't even need a combo, you just do the damage, and Rooney really coming alive on this Lucio.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, Bliss has found something that works well for them. But DYS, they have the ults that they should hold from here, but if Rooney's able to get to this beat drop before DYS uses any of these ultimates, this actually could be a full cap.
Yeah, looking good here. Bliss still moving forward. Rooney manages to somehow get out with just a sliver of HP. The Deadeye has been pulled here for DYS, creating some space. Not going to find any kills, but does manage to get control of this bot once again. And we do have that Terra Surge from Reno ready to go. The lamp has been forced out from Ascent here, so Bliss Excel have an opportunity to go in, and they are absolutely going to take it. Percy finds Ravage. Now Arrow has been traded out by Witty Weave. Tidal Surge, Tidal Blast actually over onto Lampy himself, just maybe to keep himself alive, and it does just that for now. 6 HP and a dream. Shadow manages to find his way out of that engagement, but meanwhile, the rest of Bliss not able to put any pressure on this. Yeah, the trade's coming through. The card has been walked all the way back to the middle of point, and it looks like DYS are at least going to be able to remove that forward checkpoint.
They are. Shadow trying to get out with their life, being chased down by, I think, what, 3 people? I don't know if they will not make it out, but that was actually a fairly economical win by DYS to put them back into this fight.
Yeah, that's right. You still have this window Terra Surge ready to go. Rooney has the beat probably in response to this Terra Surge. Ravage falling very low there. Will be able to stay alive. And now some bot progress being gained here by DYS. And Powar is looking to shut that down immediately. Lampy taken out here. The Wuyang now gone. Not only going to be able to deny some value from the Tracer on that Wuyang, but also get the healing in. Ascend has to commit this window just to try and keep DYS in a healthy state. Rudy has the beat ready to go. Really doesn't want to lose it, though. Doesn't want to use it either. Seems to be holding it kind of for this Terra Surge. But, I mean, you're going to absolutely lose everybody else on your team in the meanwhile. Powar and Arrow both falling. That's 2 really big components of trying to stop this. Now, Reno somehow alive with just a sliver of HP. Witty Weave is going to be able to keep that tank in the fight for just a millisecond longer, but the trade's still coming through, and Bliss do have that closer spawn here, so they are going to be able to get back into the fight just that much quicker.
Yeah, the 2v2 kind of going out a little bit of a stall right there. Both tanks trade in the fight, which kind of just means nothing happens.
Okay, we do see Lampy sent back to the spawn. Witty Weave finally winning out the Tracer duel. Felt like I was taking a long time over on the angle there, but I mean, Bliss now just walking this right on back towards the checkpoint.
Yeah, they are. We're coming towards another big ult trader here. Bliss coming up to the fabled 5 ult scenario, and we've seen them kind of come out on top in this situation most of the time.
Yeah, Terra Surge from Powar ready to go here. Reno does have one to respond with. Already that Fortify has come out from Powar, so you're not going to have necessarily as much survivability. You want to try and find an opening here if you're Bliss, but Reno finds the spear onto Rooney. The beat now out of the fight here for Bliss, and all the space going to be taken here by DYS. Ravage finding the 1-2 combo onto those DPS and helping Witty Weave clean up Arrow as well. Looking good for DYS to maybe get towards that checkpoint.
Yeah, I They're inching closer. I think they might. Yeah, I think Bliss will have a chance. Shadow should be able to touch the point here and make it so they don't get capped, at least without a little bit of a fight. But they have the ultimate thing, and Wraithform already forced them, so they can kind of just engage right in here. And or maybe just go to the map, maybe.
No, Percy, you took the wrong step off the edge there, and I mean, DYS are going to capitalize on that. You take out Air now. Terror Surge committed here by Reno on the point just as they're capping this checkpoint, and yeah, that's going to be the kills coming through here for DYS. Finally winning a couple back-to-back fights.
They are, and this is the kind of snowball scenario you have to be a little bit afraid of here. We're coming towards the last fight, and DYS building up on the ults their own. Bliss, you beating that fight, honestly. I'll be honest, I didn't see it.
I missed that one as well. I guess if it was an Ajax, we will never know, Rooney, so that's the good news for you. Ooh, okay,
Ooh.
Percy finding the better of Ravage there that was kind of chasing him around, and yeah, Bliss are looking to absolutely capitalize. Oh, the double kill pulse bomb from Shadow takes out the entire backline of DYS, and yeah, now Bliss back in control comfortably.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, you're sort of having the question for Bliss for yourself, like, do you want to push it? Do you not? How far do you want to push it? We're coming down to 10 seconds left, and we're having emergency swaps. Reno's going over to the Queen, trying to get back faster and have a little more sustain.
Yeah, looks like Bliss were just trying to push this bot towards the middle to deny that forward spawn. Doesn't quite happen, though. Overtime has been triggered. It's the Tidal Blast over onto the Reaper, but yeah, the Fortify from the Orisa not going to get knocked down by that Tidal Blast. It is the window committed, but the Tidal... Oh, okay, actually, the Terror Surge not going to get off there from Power, and the Blossom from Percy only going to find one. It's even here now as DYS take control of this bot once again. This Blossom is ready to go. Lampy finding a nice late kill onto Rooney here, and DYS keeping themselves alive in this map.
They really are. We're having a bit of a clutch scenario right now. DYS making mass changes to get back in time, and both teams are empty on ults besides this Reaper ult from DYS, and if Ravage is able to get a good one, this could be pretty dangerous here. They are in one fight scenario.
Yeah, here we go. You know that Bliss want to try and take a fight on this point, which could be really big for Ravage to try and get this Blossom. We see that Javelin Spin come out, and ooh, okay, the Fortify is going to keep the Orisa alive. So is the nice boop coming through from Rooney there, but it's not enough to keep Rooney alive in the end as both supports for the side of Bliss fall, and the payload, or the bot, still moving forward here for DYS.
Okay, they pretty much have one last chance to prevent this from completely snowballing to a loss, but they were able to trade Valenti. Most of their healing is gone, and Shadow's coming up a little bit on this pulse bomb. Power going over to the Malga, and Rudy?
Rooney, no, engaged way too quickly there. The rest of the team was just not there to try and support this Lucio, and now Power trying to get onto this point, but the Reaper going to be able to do so much damage, and that is going to be the Malga falling here courtesy of Reno. Now Ravage does end up falling. The pulse bomb comes out, doesn't connect, but it does force everybody away. Now you have to stay on this point if you're Bliss. The Wraithform forced out from Percy. Wittyweeb immediately going to capitalize on that, and oh my gosh, the 25-player kill streak. Wittyweeb helping bring this team to the victory. The Doomfist swap just for the touch, but everybody from DYS going to be able to clean that up. Map win here for DYS.
Wow, that slipped through their fingertips. Bliss is in such a good scenario for so much of that map, and there's a few key fights lost, a few ultimates invested, maybe a bit too early at wrong times, and ooh, DYS put that really well to bring it back, and from a scenario of, what, probably like a 100-meter deficit lead?
Yeah, I don't think that they got like a tiny little bit of bot progress at the start of the map, and then it was just all Bliss for the rest of it. But this is the beauty of these push maps, right? Is that you just have to win kind of fights back to back, and then you get that snowball going. And unfortunately for Bliss, you just kept losing somebody kind of first in a lot of those fights, and DYS were doing a really great job capitalizing on it, right? We saw a lot of space being taken by DYS after they got that first pick, and absolutely incredible to come back from that deficit.
Absolutely. It felt like kind of Bliss maybe panicked a little bit, trying to be in a scenario where it's like each individual people are trying to carry.
Yeah.
And it went from operating as a team like they were doing very well before to like a lot of individual people trying to do individual things.
Yeah, you're not going to win the deathmatch style here in organized play. DYS keeping their cool. No, and we mentioned it kind of before, is that after they DYS lost that first map, is like coming into the second map and being able to take that is really impressive, and it really does feel like it kind of built some momentum for this team.
Yeah, and you need that confidence as a team going to these fights. Like even like if you're DYS and you're in that scenario of, oh, we're down 100 meters, but then you were able as a team to claw back, clutch it back, and win that fight. I mean, that's a big confidence to bring it back like that. When you're in a situation like in a future map and you're down, you're like, oh guys, we did this before, we can win, it's fine. Rather than someone's mental collapsing. But if you're Bliss, you're kind of, it could be an opposite scenario, honestly. You could be like, oh, we had control this entire time and we fumbled it, and you can kind of see those steps kind of replaying in your mind in a future map of your head where you see it start slipping, and then you're like, oh wait, is this happening again?
Yeah, there's a chance to just absolutely drop the spaghetti here. This is also really big for DYS because you have just won the map pick. We were kind of saying, like, okay, it's very important to win your own map pick, but you got to win your opponent's map pick to win out the series. And getting that one on the board here for DYS is a really great start, putting themselves at a match point. You just have to win out one more map pick from the side of Bliss.
Yeah, the ball is now in Bliss's court. They get to choose where we go next, and Havana is where we're going next, actually. And, I mean, I guess this does kind of make sense a little bit with the style they've been running, trying to run that more resource-based comp or pokey in some aspects. But now, again, now even if they win this map, they still have to then win on DYS's map pick and ban for map 5.
Yeah, exactly. You mentioned it earlier, Headrammer, is that Bliss seems to really be excelling in these fights where you can slow things down a little bit, which, you know, push maps not necessarily known for their slow fights, but over on an escort map such as Havana, where it's a lot more poke favored, I think that Bliss is going to be able to kind of refine themselves in their comfort of slower kind of fights.
Yeah, when it comes to banning Hero next, I think, that does... Oh god, this is such a good... Maybe removing the Weang from this point, because I don't think they're really running it themselves. They really like running that Baptiste, and they could use it as a scenario to protect the Baptiste as well, because they like that one being there. That way they can still combo with the big Bap like they want to do. And Williams giving them a little bit of trouble, whereas I feel like not really much else was giving them trouble.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Wuyang ban here would be really, really huge as well because the poke damage that can come in from the Wuyang is just absolutely extensive. But no, okay, this is another this is a hard-hitting ban, right? Coming out with that Tracer ban, that means that your Baptiste is going to be that much kind of safer in the backline. And if you're looking to play a little bit more poke style, you know, taking out the hero that's going to be able to put a lot of pressure on those poke heroes, I think is a good play here for Bliss.
Yeah, and since Woody Weeb has been the one to swap to Tracer, they've been kind of tearing up the backline a lot. And we're seeing that situation play out where we talked about on map 1 how, you know, the tank's kind of playing up front, trying to absorb all that pressure, and, you know, playing bouncer, but all the pressure that Woody Weeb's been putting out on the backline has been forced the backline to stop looking at their tank, which then eventually means they die.
Yeah, you really... The tanks that DYS tend to be running do demand a lot of resources, especially from those supports. So yeah, having this, or for Bliss, having that Tracer banned out, all right. I mean, we're looking at some long-range damage here. I'm hoping that we might get to see a Widowmaker on Havana. I do think that if there's an appearance of the Widowmaker, this is a great map for it. Hanzo also been getting a lot more playtime as well. So I'm approaching Havana the same way I would with like a Circuit Royale, right? We're looking to really have the DPS players kind of shine in these maps. Yeah,
I mean, we believe Woody Weeb's preferred hero is listed as Widowmaker, so we could very well see that come out on this map, either on the attack or defense, especially if we get the third point. That is Widow's playground.
Absolutely. All right, DYS, considering their options when it comes to a hero ban in response. Not going to be able to take out a DPS, but
Baptiste
in support. Ooh, yeah, Baptiste could be really big here. Ooh, okay, it's gonna ban out the diva. We haven't necessarily seen any diva played in the series so far, but she is in a very, very strong spot right now. And I think that especially if you're looking to eat up a bunch of hit scan damage, she is fantastic at that.
Yeah, especially if you are playing the Run the Widowmaker, diva getting your face and stopping what you want to do would be trouble. Or just like you said, any hit scan realistically. And diva's pretty good at a lot of points of the map too, because there are a number of high ground scenarios that can be hard to dislodge people from. You have first point where people like to sit up on the high ground, and you know it's really useful if a diva can go up there and kind of try to force people off, or even if you're the tank defending, hold a corner, they grapple up, you come up and kind of meet them there. Second point, third point. There's so many opportunities actually for diva to be really strong on this map.
All right, let's take a look over at the players that are going to be in, because we have a whole lot of substitutions coming in for these teams. So we are going to have Arrow coming in over on the DPS now. Shadow moving over on to that support for the side of Bliss. And then at DYS, Gonna have the backline all swapped up here. So we have Winch and Leaky coming in. Two supports that we have not seen yet in this series for them.
Yeah, this is an interesting swap. Anytime someone does that, kind of does the role swap mid-series, it makes you wonder if it is one of those scenarios of like they want to play a different hero, or it's like, okay, maybe I'm not feeling it on the certain role and I just want to change it over to something else. It does make you wonder. It actually does look like Arrow is listed on their team as a hit scan DPS, so maybe it's more just a scenario of, you know, we had to play off role for the day essentially, and maybe what you are good at makes better sense of this map.
Yeah, Arrow, the hit scan DPS on the Baptiste makes a whole lot more sense to me now why we've been seeing that map be played the entire time. But yeah, now as we move over onto Havana, this long range map, getting Arrow back over onto the DPS here, maybe a little bit more comfortable. Okay, hover. Okay, no, actually Bliss is on the defense here, so this is the composition that they're going to be rolling out with, and we're going to get to see some Soldier 76 on the field.
Interesting. I can only assume the soldier's going to be trying to hold one of the off angles to try to make it so it's very difficult to move through. I don't know if Winch's actually going to be running this life. I feel like I'm being trolled a little bit, but it could also be a scenario to pull a very aggressive hog back and say, no, you need to come back a little bit.
I like the first pick as well, right? You see the Roadhog go out and get a hook, you pull it back. No, we are just getting trolled. DYS. Ooh, okay, Reno over on the ball here. This actually could be a really good matchup into, especially this backline, the Yari Baptiste. Oh, Percy! Okay, shutting down the Zen right out the gates. But yeah, there's not a whole lot of peel potential in the Yari Baptiste for each other, so having a dive composition might be nice for DYS.
Yeah, and paired with the Genji gives you a lot of those kind of slam dash combinations to get so much health out of them so fast. And I mean, Soldier Widow, pretty diveable to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. You force out a little bit of movement cooldown. Ooh, Leaky thinking that he's going to be able to take another angle, but Percy on this Widowmaker watching all of the angles. Looking for the shots here. Has hit that Zenyatta a handful of times, and there's the dive that comes in, and yeah, Percy on this Widow absolutely going to get targeted out now. Is able to get out with their life, which is good, and but some space being gained here for DYS. Everybody forced to just back up as soon as you don't have that Widowmaker that's kind of putting out the pressure onto the point. Witty Weave over on the Genji manages to take out that turret from Shadow, so it's going to be a little bit longer to fight before you get those big heals. Another headshot coming through from Percy, sending that Zenyatta back to the spawn once again. Poe are going to push forward and take out Ravage as well, and Bliss looking good at least for this first fight.
Yeah, if they're able to keep Percy like enough protected that he can hit these shots, and even just enough that's long enough as distraction, the power can just hold the line and survive at a time. That is one of the downsides of this comp, is that it's so hard to really displace this Orisa if they have at least some semblance of healing during it. What do we have going over to the Widow themselves, saying like, no, I'm gonna take the one.
I like this, right? You need some kind of pressure to put onto the Widow. If the Wrecking Ball plus Genji wasn't really doing it, okay, move over on to the Orisa. Oh yeah, we're gonna get the Orisa actually out of Reno. So we're looking at a almost mirror composition here, save for a couple of things. Now, we have this Terra Surge coming online here for Poar. Now that you have another Orisa to shoot at, you're going to be able to build it that much quicker. Oh, the fortified force down. I think I saw an 18 there, 7. Oh my gosh, somehow Reno is staying alive through the window, or the lamp was forced out from Winch there. But once again, cooldown's just forced out from DYS here. Percy finds another headshot. Oh my gosh, this Widow looking so good for Bliss.
Yeah, Percy's been just cleaning up some of these fights for them. And like normally you would think the Widow swap forces Percy to, oh my, taking down their opponent easily. They're feeling themselves.
Yeah, and this is nice for Percy because it's like the longer that these fights are kind of going on for Bliss, DYS is forced to kind of take more fights in more different angles, so you lose focus on that Widowmaker, and it's kind of in these mid-fights where Percy is really kind of finding those shots because the space is being made. Another swap coming through here for the side of DYS. Ravage is going to move over onto the Sombra, trying to just find their way around a flank, but you don't have the Tracer to make that happen, so the Sombra potentially going to be the answer there, where you can at least be invisible for a short time.
Yeah, it can have the opportunity to kind of force the team to turn around a little bit more, but Percy already lapping Witty Weave in these ultimates since the Witty Weave a swap. Another infant size up.
Yeah, we just heard 60 seconds there. Oh, not a whole lot of progress has been made here for DYS. Terra Surge ready to go. Window and Trank actually forced out to try and keep Reno alive here. And yeah, we see Bliss trying to get away from it. Do manage to take down, or Power ends up falling there. So DYS are at least up in the tank battle. Terra Surge going to be committed. the tag visor from Arrow, unfortunately hitting a lot of targets, but just not doing a lot of killing, and that Terra Surge from Reno really cleaning things up, and finally this payload's moving.
Yeah, I kind of wish Bliss didn't really invest at all in that fight, because they would have had even more power going into it. But Infinite now pops, and they know exactly where they're coming in. Bliss has the opportunity and resources to invest in this fight and bring it back, but they need to be very careful not to get picked by Witty Weak sites.
Ooh, yeah, and Witty Weave. A lot of headshots going over onto that Orisa. Yeah, you see the TP come in. Okay, actually very risky here from Percy over on the Reaper now. We see the Sun committed from Shadow. It does find 2. Both supports, though, already gone here for DYS. The overtime has been triggered, and Bliss have no healers to try and sustain them on this point. It's just the Terra Surge.
Spin.
All right, spin to win. Just for
Getting
funsies.
You know, an absolute dominant defense from Bliss in this series. They found exactly what they needed. They told Percy, you go Widow and carry us, and they did. But at the same time, the backline kept everyone alive that needed to happen through the ball gameplay, through the Sombra, through the opponent Widow, and the Genji. I mean, that's not easy to do. That can be a hard composition to live against when you're on those very vulnerable DPS, but time and time again they performed. They lost the one fight, but didn't invest too much, and they were to come back and just win it. They burned so much time.
Yeah, right? You just win enough fights that all of a sudden it's in overtime, and DYS have made so many swaps that you don't necessarily have anything really to work with. You have to use both those support ults in the one fight, so unfortunately, yeah, not a whole lot of space here for DYS, and that's a very, very clear win condition for Bliss. You don't have to push it that far just before that first checkpoint, so we'll have to see what DYS are planning to try and slow down Bliss on their attack.
Yeah, we do have the line in the sand, like you mentioned. The fuller hold is possible. I mean, they got it to right before the first point cap, and if Percy's able to just kind of hit some shots on Widow, this could end very quickly. But at the same time, DYS kind of setting up for a composition fairly similar to what Bliss did. That's a little bit annoying to dislodge. Reno can kind of sit and absorb stuff for a long period of time. They have the shield, which has the opportunity to block Widow shots that can make it a little more difficult. And Raven's just already wants to be annoying. We'll be in the backline on Sombra.
Yes, starting out on the annoying now. What do we moving over onto the Soldier as well? I feel like this is more Soldier 76 than I've seen in a very, very long time. Both these teams opting to match that. Already Percy is over on the Genji, taking an angle. Aggressive dash in, trying to get some cooldowns out from Reno, because of course this Sigma, if you can burn out these cooldowns, Orisa's going to be able to just walk all over him. Has spotted out Ravage on this Sombra, knows to be aware, try to control this angle. Very low though, and when you have this double flex support, you don't really have anybody that's going to be able to kind of follow your flanker around and keep them all healed up. Ravage looking for a hack, hits the virus first, but all of the healing is there between the Soldier health pack, the cart, and that turret.
6-1.
Whoa, yeah, Rooney gonna find Reno, and that is not good here for DYS. You don't have your tank, now your Baptiste is gone, and I mean, you mentioned that you might be able to clean this up fairly quickly while taking out that tank and trying to find some stagger kills here is how Bliss are gonna be able to do it.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a rough touch scenario here. And another one down right now. It's going to have to be the Sombra that touched the point, but they're trying to find them out. They've been revealed. Immortality Field already out, though.
And Virus does connect, which is good, but Shadow is going to be there to keep Rooney alive through it. Now, all of the deployables have been destroyed from Bliss, so that's at least something that DYS has to work with. Nice connection onto Percy, but Reno down once again, and nobody gets on the point. Bliss tying us up here in the series. We are going all the way.
Yeah, I mean, just like the mid-season, we are going all the way to map 5, and now we're in that scenario we mentioned before. It's each team has found what they want, but whether they can get it or not is kind of up in the air sometimes.
Yeah, it's surprising to me how close this series has been, but how like these maps have not been close. Like the individual maps, it seems like one team is just like drop. Okay, push map, you get a pass, just for the nature of push. But I mean, the rest of these maps have been quite one-sided. So it's interesting to see, you know, heading into the last map type, which I guess is gonna have to be our hybrid map. We haven't hit that one yet. Interesting to see, like, is this gonna go the way of Bliss? I mean, the escort map obviously looked really, really good, and hybrid can play very, very similar to that style, so DYS might be in trouble here.
Yeah, I mean, they do have a lot of power. They have the ability to remove, they pick the map, they have the ability to remove something that's annoying them. They could, like, that Widow is kind of causing them a lot of issues there in defense. You know, depending on what map they choose here, there's some maps where Widow can be pretty good at. I mean, at the same time, I think they're kind of in the driver's seat right now. They can turn around as long as they're they're not completely tilted, have the ability to turn around. I think they can absolutely do this. That I mean, loser picks map and mode and ban is pretty strong.
It is really strong, yeah, and I think that DYS is gonna be feeling really, really good about that. Hopefully, yeah, like you said, not too tilted off of that Havana match, which, you know, you can chalk that up to just getting widowed, I suppose. But now having control of this, you're gonna be able to, yeah, pick the map. I mean, it has to be a hybrid, but you're gonna at least have a little bit of control over where we go. A lot of those are gonna play very, very similarly, but you know, there's small nuance here where you can try and take us somewhere where Bliss isn't gonna have this really strong advantage in these slow fights. But it's all gonna come down, I think, to those hero bans as well. And we're in map 5, so a lot of those really, really heavy hitting ones have already been used. But I mean, if you have one in the back of your mind, DYS, like, this is it. You have no more chances. We kind of talked about this at the start of the series, is that, like, you maybe don't want to, like, use your best one at the beginning.
Yeah, I think a lot of their best ones actually were used at the beginning for both of these teams, to be honest. And going to the map 5, there's a lot of things unlocked. That being said, I think the Tracer ban worked out really well for them to kind of protect that team, protect the Widow a bit more, and open things up. So Tracer being open again for map 5 could be dangerous on these maps, because there's some of these hybrid maps where Tracer can be pretty strong to get around these corners. Like you could choose Eichenwald, for example, where Tracer kind of run rampant on second. If Tracer's able to get in on first, it could be pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to give everybody a little break here before we get into our 5th and final map. But hey, we are all tied up, so you don't want to miss the conclusion of this EU series. We will be back very shortly. All right, welcome back, everybody. If you're just tuning in, you are joining us in the hopefully determining map of this series. We are on map 5. Both these teams tied 2-2. Bliss now facing a map pick from DYS in what should be the final map of the series.
Yeah, we have I mean, what does it say? History tends to repeat itself, but just this time, history is literally just days ago. Is what it is. These two teams face up again, so neck and neck the entire series. Last time today, map 5 again, and this is it's getting a bit scary, I think.
Yeah, we've been speculating off broadcast what map we were gonna head to, but it's neither of the maps that we were thinking. Headrammer, we are gonna be heading to Midtown for the hybrid pick here from DYS, and you were kind of mentioning that maybe you want to go somewhere where the Tracer is a little bit stronger, and we were thinking, well, a lot of these maps are definitely gonna be able to play Tracer. I think that Midtown may be the Tracer-ist of these hybrid maps in the pool, at least.
Yeah, Midtown can be. Like, it has aspects that are good for Tracer. Like, you know, you have that first point, like, left or right side, depending on your attack and defending, where you can kind of wrap around and kind of get space in it. Second point's okay. Third point's like, kind of I would say, for it.
Yeah.
But, I also think some of the things that Bliss has been really good at can be good on Midtown. I think, like, third point and first point could be really good for a hold your ground Orisa. To, like, not let people in. But at the same time, it's a little difficult for Widow. Well, okay, maybe it doesn't matter if it's difficult for Widow, because Widow has been gone.
This is an interesting ban. Yeah, I don't, definitely not historically seen a whole lot of Widowmaker on Midtown, but hey, you had a bad time against that Widow over on Havana, so I guess just the response here, pulling that away. I mean, you get your, yeah, it's not even really a protect ban, because I mean your Tracer's already been banned out in the last one, but all right, Bliss gonna have to figure out what they're gonna respond with now. I mean, the Wu Ying ban is still open, or a Sigma ban maybe.
Yeah,
we saw them try to go over Sigma a little bit there into the Orisa. Didn't really work out, but they did try. Wu Ying cut, done.
Yes. It's smart. I like it. I like it a lot, actually. Midtown, again, Wu Yang really excels at kind of this poke damage, right? You're getting a lot of damage early in the fights. You're able to kind of force out cooldown, stuff like that, and Midtown, there's some really, really hard choke points. Especially on this first map, the first point of Midtown. Having the Wu Yang on defense is going to be so much pressure for the attacking team to try and push forward. And where Bliss hasn't been running this Wu Yang, they are not going to be hurt by this ban whatsoever.
It's also a really strong combo when you have a Tracer as well. You know, you can put kind of like the little like orb wave on them when they go around. When you ult, oftentimes you put it on the Tracer, and your Tracer triple blinks in and knocks over a team and gets almost a guaranteed kill every single time. So this removes a really strong combo from it as well. Now we do have some inside tip right here from Twitch chat from Power, who's apparently in our Twitch chat, who's also playing the series, saying care the map 5 hog map Lifeweaver.
we were talking about it on Havana. We were like, oh, is this like maybe a troll pick? But who knows? Maybe it's not. Maybe it was actually just foresight. As we head over to Midtown, I don't know. You can maybe use the Roadhog here on Midtown. It's a possibility.
It is possible. Will we see it? I'm not sure. I think we might be slightly receiving misinformation from the team, but I mean, this will be the time to pull it out if you're trying to hide strats the entire time. Like, really, your strongest power was your Roadhog, and you pull it out and just hits every single hook.
Nobody would expect that. Absolutely nobody. Also, hey, BPL Raid. Welcome everybody from BPL. You are tuning into quite the series. It is map 5 here of 2 teams that went to map 5 in the mid-season tournament. So we're getting a repeat now in week 5 of the regular season. Bliss Excel versus DYS. Budget approved. Tied up 2-2. And this is DYS's map pick, taking us over to Midtown.
Yeah, it is. And you know, as I thought about it a little more, I put a little more thought into actually the Roadhog strategy. Widow's ban, Roadhog is essentially Widow.
Ah, okay, I see it, right? You still have that one-shot potential because Roadhog, of course, got that crazy rework here in Season 18. Like I said earlier, there's just so many more tanks now that, like, you theoretically could play, and it's crazy to me that I'm saying that, like, Roadhog is one of those tanks. He really is. You can play him, and it's not a throw pick anymore.
You're right. It's in a little bit of resurgence, at least for a bit. It's kind of waning itself down a little bit as people realize, yeah, Roadhog just takes a lot of damage,
yeah.
and especially that life here has been nerfed a little bit too. We still see like Crocs breaking it out a little bit sometimes in the EU region sometimes, but there's a lot of opportunity for what could be done here. Because I mean, if you're able to play far enough back and kind of get those one shots, it kind of relies on you hitting those shots all the time to make it work. But
yeah.
I will be really curious to see. I think honestly, I'm more curious to see what DYS runs out on than what Bliss does. I feel like we have a good general idea of what Bliss wants to do already.
Yeah, Bliss is gonna probably play a reset. I don't know. I think that's what we're gonna end up with here. We did see DYS kind of match that Arisa a couple of times. I'm thinking on push especially. So we could potentially see that come through. The Sigma we got to see a little bit very, very briefly from DYS on Havana, but I think that against the Arisa, especially, you know, with Tracer back in the mix here, you're going to be able to force out cooldowns from a Sigma very, very quickly, and he's just going to get walked on fairly easily. So interesting to see what they'll, you know, this is their map pick, so DYS have to have at least, you know, some kind of a strategy or something in mind with what they're going to roll out with here, but it all comes down to this. So I mean, pressure is on. DYS didn't win that last one, so you don't, you know, have that momentum that we've been talking about in this series so far.
Yeah, that is true. Sometimes I feel like when we talk about, like, you know, these teams' strats and their opinions, part of me likes to believe there's just somebody who comes like, what if we just did this? It's like, yeah. It's like, yeah, I guess we'll just do it. Sure, why not?
I had one team I casted one time told me, you make us sound like we're a lot smarter than we are. So
yeah.
you know, sometimes you just roll out on the hero that you're feeling like playing, and it just kind of works out. Looking like Bliss is going to be on the defense here, so hey, this composition is at least what they're going to stick with for this first point.
Yeah, a lot of the same for Bliss overall. Percy now running the Tracer now that Shadow is on support still. So I will be really curious to see how they match up to Witty Weave, because it felt like Witty Weave was doing a lot earlier.
Yeah, I agree. The Tracer from the side of DYS, very, very strong. Now, we do have this ERE BAP once again here for Bliss. It's what they ran on Havana. Worked out really well for them. Arrow on the Soldier as well. So this is very much shades of Havana here for Bliss. DYS gonna match this Arisa right out the gate. The Lucio Kiriko backline here. You do have Ravage over on the Reaper, so you're looking to move a little bit quicker here against Bliss. It's playing this kind of poke composition, especially with that double flex support. Just the poke damage. Honestly, the longer that Bliss can kind of keep DYS out this choke, the better it's gonna be for them. Ooh, surprise Reaper, anybody? Oh my goodness. Hiding in a corner there, doesn't manage to find the kill, does force out a cooldown though, and now this is an opportunity for DYS to push in. You force a couple of cooldowns out of Bliss, you have the Lucio, you really gotta walk, but the damage is being done. Winch falling very, very low, isn't gonna be able to stay on that speed for long. No, actually is gonna be sent back to the spawn. Poar picking up a double to start things out, make it a triple here on Midtown.
Yeah, that's exactly what you need. DYS's comp kind of really wants to just go in. Bliss's comp is a bit more brittle when it comes to just living, because you can be TP'd on by the Reaper, ran down on with the Curie Lucio. Everything's so mobile on this team. So if you're Bliss, you need to prevent at least some of the teams getting in, or get some on an early resource trade, so that way they can't sustain.
Exactly, and go more poking happening. Now it is the pylon that's gonna fall from Shadow, so at least a little bit of healing now gone from the side of Bliss. And there's the go button. We see the TP in from the Reaper already. The Wraith has been forced out, and that's gonna make Ravage a very large target. Is gonna end up falling at the hands of Arrow though, and okay, we see Reno just absolutely walking forward. The Fortify ready to go. Terror Surge also ready to go. Not going to be able to find any kills with that. And no, in fact, Percy is going to be able to take down that Arisa. Shadow does get traded out there by Witty Weave, so maybe if DYS move quickly.
Yeah, a bit of an investment there from DYS throwing the Arisa, thinking they could win that fight. And it was so close. From getting off, but taking so much damage, they were forced to pop all their cooldowns just to survive. And now Bliss, sitting on kind of all their ultimates, I think they're going to have a little bit of a difficult time running against, once the support ults come up for DYS though.
An opportunity, maybe to hit the pulse bomb, doesn't even need it. Leaky is going to be taken down. There's the pulse bomb. It's the cleanup over onto Reno. Everybody from DYS walking through the alleyway. That's not where you want to be against a pulse bomb. Percy does push a little bit too far though, but the Tracer will get back into this fight pretty quickly.
I mean, that is essentially the most economical way Bliss can win that fight. One pulse bomb, one win. It's in all the charges so fast, already at 20%. Ravage, they're giving up on the Reaper now. They're going to run it down a little bit slow, kind of walk with their team instead. Both support ults available for DYS. They could probably start this with a rush, try to run down the team and force out the sun, I guess, from Shadow. And then pop the Lucio ult, just run them down.
Right, well, DYS have made it through the choke point. Step 1 acquired. Leaky committing the Kitsune rush as well. Suzu out. Terror Surge ready to go. He's going to go ahead. Yeah, pull it out. Immediately going to kill Ravage. The beat from Winch
committing.
connects onto 3. They want to take this fight. They do find Rooney, the Sun, ready to go here from Shadow. Looking for a juicier target than just one. Not going to find anything other than that. And the kill actually not going to come through here. Power, though, okay, still alive and healthy on that tank. He's going to be able to stave off this attack from DYS.
I was very surprised they were able to win in that fight, to be honest. I thought after a few trades come through by DYS, and essentially DYS just like scattered the moment the sun was popped, and I thought in the moment, okay, they're going to cut them down, but they were somehow able to find 2 more trades after that and then hold. And now Bliss is coming up on some ults again, and DYS basically just has their result.
Yeah, and you have nothing to show for that, like, commitment of ultimates there from DYS. Not a single tick on the board. Ravage, a late kill, or really an early kill, but with 10 seconds left, somebody from DYS has to get a foot on this point. Looking around, Arrow's trying to shut down whoever's looking for it. It is going to be a touch that comes through. The Tracer gets their foot on the point. Pulse Bomb committed on to this Orisa. The Terra Surge going to keep them alive, though, and overtime now ticking. DYS need to find their way onto this point. You do find some kills there. The High Noon from Ravage not going to connect on anything. And yeah, the double pulse kill, or the torpedo kill there from Arrow. Percy coming alive as well. The DPS here for Bliss, cleaning this up, and wow, really shutting that down.
Yeah, this defense essentially just shades again of Havana. Their defense is so strong and not letting them get through. They hold the line and just, if they push past them, they back a little more, get a trade, and I don't know what I don't think I could have expected any more from Percy here on this Tracer. I was unsure how they would be because of being Shadow most of the time in previous maps, but they held up, and honestly, in some aspects, they did better.
Yeah, I agree. This is so hard for DYS now, because not only do you need to full hold yourself, but you are hoping for a map 6 right now. Not a lot of teams want to be in a position where you're hoping for a draw so you can go to the next one. And against this Bliss team, I mean, we already saw what they could do kind of on an attack like this when we watched Havana, so it's gonna be tough here for DYS to defend through this.
Yeah, and right now, most things staying, well, actually, no, sorry, DYS swapping to the Baptiste and Soj themselves, trying to be a little more survivable, you could argue, and kind of more stationary in what they want to do, but Arrow's sticking with the Soldier. I think it might be a little difficult for him to get by, but if he's able to sneak through, he puts out a lot of consistent damage pressure.
Yeah, and you're going to have a lot of kind of ability to just save yourself, right? You don't really need either of your supports to go with you. I think that's why this Tracer Soldier is kind of being played with this double flex support, is because you don't have like a Harmony Orb, you don't have that Wu Yang bubble or anything like that to try and go with your DPS. So having your DPS kind of alone over on an angle, able to take care of themselves, and you can just focus everything into the front line, put out a whole bunch of damage. DYS now. This defense, nice javelin to connect, starts things off here for Reno, but not really being able to control a whole lot of space, and it seems like Bliss is basically just walking themselves through this choke point. No speed needed. Wavy falling very low on the Tracer already. The railgun ready to go, doesn't find a kill though, and already a lot of damage being done here to DYS, and they just are not finding the response. Really aggressive attack in here from Reno. Ravage is so low. Percy has had the recall forced out, but there's just nobody really put any pressure on him, and no, he's actually going to be able to take down a Ravage there. Rooney did fall, but now it is the floodgates that have been opened. Bliss have walked themselves onto this point. They only need the 1 tick mark, and they are going to be able to collect that Midtown attack. You blink, and it's done here for Bliss.
Yeah, DYS kind of, it felt like they very easily got bunched up all in a corner, allowing themselves to kind of be shot essentially from all angles, while the rest of the team kind of pushed around and forced the point. We saw Soj take a bunch of damage, have to get peeled for, and then Tracer killed them, and then just force the point, and then the rest, suddenly the team has to run back. They have to touch it. They didn't get a single tick this time, so there's just no wiggle room.
Yeah, it's impressive stuff here from Bliss. Really showing that they look good on these cart maps, right? The Escort, the Hybrid, winning them back to back. I think this composition of the Reaper worked out really well for them, but also being able so flexible in their DPS pools, right? We saw the Reaper and the Tracer. We got to see a Soldier make an appearance as well. I think that the flexibility that Bliss had really did help them win this series.
I think Soldier currently has a 100% win rate in the series. I think, is that right?
I think you're right. That's impressive.
Yeah, Soldier meta is confirmed. Unfortunately, season ends in what, just like a few days.
You have 4 days to make the best of this soldier meta. Good luck, everybody.
Yeah.
Um,
And
no,
especially on this Widow, so good.
I know, right? And that's another hero that we don't necessarily get to see a whole lot, right? Widow is a very niche kind of a pick, so when you see it being chosen, you really do need that Widow to kind of pop off. And that is exactly what we got to see on Havana, so really nice stuff.
It scared them so much that they immediately banned Widow next map.
Yeah, that's so true. And that is impact, because banning the DPS heroes are just, by nature, is not necessarily going to be as impactful unless you're up against a one-trick, because there's just so many DPS heroes. So I think we saw DYS went for a whole lot of tank bans. We saw them ban, I think it was 3 tanks throughout the series, and it's just because those tank bans are usually going to be a little bit more impactful, just because there's less tanks in the game.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it scared as much as they banned Widow, but it also just removes a ban that probably could have been more impactful. I wouldn't say Widow's that good on Midtown.
No, I agree. When you take a look at the bans here, we were talking about how having kind of that really impactful ban for the end can be the game changer, and that Wu Yang ban was held on to by Bliss until map 5. We saw DYS have Lampy on that Wu Yang a handful of these maps, doing really good, so being able to hold on to that until the last map worked out really well for Bliss.
Yeah, I think that was one of the best last map bans they could have had. And I honestly don't know what really would have been a better one before, because I think the Tracer and Zarya bans were probably the strongest ones they removed before. And like you said, holding the Wu Yang changed a lot in the series. Yeah, it really felt like anytime it was those hold your space, don't move the line of comms, it really felt like DYS really struggled to kind of push around those corners and finish it out.
Yeah, really looking comfortable for Bliss on these maps and these comps where they could play a little bit slower, right? You're really just looking kind of to go for the damage first, get a really long poke phase, and that's the maps that they were winning out, is when they were able to comfortably play that. So playing a style that worked really well for them, finding the maps where that style was going to work best, it was very good, very well played from Bliss.
And it was. We're going to take a very short break, but we're going to come back with an interview from Bliss Excelsior to talk about how they pulled this off. We'll be right back. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Memories. Memories.
Yeah.
Memories. Memories.
Feel my heart, it's beating. Oh, my body's breathing. It's just you and me. Feel my heart, it's beating. Oh, my body's breathing. It's just you and me. I'm so caught in this, we're so lost deep in it, can't stop. I'm forever the one you call. Let's free fall. I'm so caught in this, we're so lost deep in it, can't stop. I'm forever the one you call. Let's free fall. 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 I'm so caught in this, we're so lost deep in it, can't stop. I'm forever the one you call. Let's free fall. Feel my heart, it's beating. Oh, my body's breathing. It's just you and me. Feel my heart, it's beating. Oh, my body's breathing. It's just you and me. I'm so caught in this, we're so lost deep in it, can't stop.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Hopefully you got to see that map 5, the conclusion of this EU Week 5, and it was Bliss that came out on top there. So we do have an interview here. We have Power joining us. Hello, Power, and congratulations.
Hey, thank you so much.
Awesome. So this, we were talking that this is the first time that you faced off against DYS in the regular season, but you guys actually did play them in that mid-season tournament, and my understanding is that this is an absolute reverse of the results that way. So how did you guys learn from that and come into this next series to take the champion, or take the win?
So last year, I think it was literally every map that we won last time, we lost this time, and literally exactly the same way around. That's quite funny. So I think we tried to focus on a little bit more what comps we were confident on, and also we had quite a different lineup. Like last time, we didn't have Shadow available, so our hero pools were a bit different, and we couldn't play some of the comps we were really comfortable on. But this time we were a bit more flexible, and then yeah, I think that really helped. And other than that, I think it's just going in with a more positive mindset, making sure that when we lose the maps, which feel really frustrating, like the Colosseo here, we don't tilt, and then we keep making sure we win the maps afterwards.
I guess speaking of that Colosseo, what kind of happened during the map? You guys start off really strong, and I think you probably had about a 100-meter lead in that map going on, looking like, I mean, the map was kind of yours to win at that point. And if DYS kind of kept clawing themselves back, and maybe like a few important alt fights, what really went wrong?
So I think it was a combination of things. I think like it was a lot of little mistakes at first, like lots of fights that we should have been winning, like we just kind of threw away a little bit, like little micro mistakes. But then at the end, like we had one really big ult fight, and I basically just terracized straight in front of a window and got blown up and died. And we've got 4 ults. Like there's nothing else to say there. I just basically completely tossed that map away. And then all the little scrappy fights later, like we kind of just lost. Like we had no ults, like, and it was a bit over basically when we lost that fight down in the middle. Trying to get there, check one off.
I had some questions about the hero bans, because I think as we went through the series, we were, every time there was a hero ban that came through, we were like, yeah, that's really impactful, that's really impactful. But were you guys holding on to that Wuyong ban until the very last map? Did you have it in your mind that like this could be the make or break, where he is getting a whole lot of playtime in the meta right now and you guys weren't really running him?
Yeah, so our Wuyang player, Ichbin, I'm going to butcher that name, can play today because he's ill, so hopefully he gets better soon. So normally we would be very much on like back Wuyang comps ourselves. Initially we weren't actually going to ban the Wuyang, we were going to ban Reaper, and then they protect ban DPS. So I mean it worked out in the end, so we're very happy about that. But yeah, I think in general our bans, I mean it's kind of just vibes based. I kind of went, oh this thing was annoying, let's ban this. We were kind of saving our Tracer ban because they have another Tracer player that might have turned up, and then at the point when we went 2-1 down, we're like, okay, we're just going to ban Tracer anyway. Like it's not worth holding on to it for a map 5 if we're not going to get a map 5. So yeah,
That's fair. I saw you teasing the Twitch chat, the hog Lifeweaver Baptiste. Why did I not see this in the series?
Let's just say I'm banned from playing Hog in any game that has Percy now. I may have lost every single game that I played Hog with him. So yeah, no comment.
Protecting you from yourself.
Yeah.
That's one way to get your hog privileges removed. All right, well, we aren't going to keep you too much longer, Poar, but we are going to give you a chance to shout anybody out. So the floor is yours now to do just that.
Yeah, so I think I'll shout out Tark. Like obviously he couldn't play today, but he's been really helpful being our manager. Like he's like, so I was running like the lobby stuff on our side, helping me like learn how to do that for today was really helpful. And then other than that, like Ichbin as well, again couldn't play today, but it's been really helpful, like talking things through, like where like positioning and stuff like that. So yeah, those are my 2 shout outs.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. You are free to go and celebrate with your team. Can't wait to see what you guys are going to do later on in this season.
Cool, thank you so much.
All right. Well, that's cool, right? I think that the team, they gotta feel really good about that. Absolutely. But that is going to be it for our EU series. But my understanding is, Headrammer, that there is more action to be seen later on tonight.
That is correct. Tonight we have NA Masters matchup between Void Ravens and Rat Milkers. It's listed as 20 UK. It's a lie. It is 8 p.m. EST. I'm producing the match, so I will be there on time. Yeah, I think this should be a pretty good game. Honestly, both these teams are, pretty decent overall. So I'm looking forward to seeing that one tonight. And then we have matches scheduled all the rest of the weekend. 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. It's an Overwatch CGL weekend.
All right, well, I mean, we get to kick it off with a map 5 here in EU. So the bar has been set quite high, but I have no doubts that there are going to be some excellent matches later on in the weekend. I have been Rain, joined of course by the one and only Headrammer. We had Hippie running the prod, and we had Lottie doing the observing here. So thank you to everybody for joining us, and we hope to see you at 8 p.m. Eastern tonight for that series. But that will be it, at least now. Take a break, get some food, and we will see you back here later tonight.